Indonesia's Foreign Minister, who's visiting Australia for about 5 days. Dr. Mochtar is a former professor of law and Minister for Justice. He fell out with the previous regime toward the end of the Sukarno years and took time out in the United States to acquire expertise on law of the sea and in developmental and economic law. All matters, of course, of considerable importance now to Indonesia and to Australia in his current position. He's been Foreign Minister since 1978. In past years, Dr. Mochtar has not spared Australian politicians and policies, speaking of them rather dismissively. Of Australian media, he's been even more forthright, particularly in reportage and interpretation and comment on East Timor and Irian Jaya. However, this visit appears to be different. Dr. Mochtar has been emphasising Indonesia's and Australia's similarities. Dr. Mochtar.
Thank you, Madam President, and I wish to start by saying how much I appreciate and am thankful for this invitation to speak here before you and the chance to meet members of the press and other persons interested in Indonesia and relations between Indonesia and Australia. You made a flattering introduction that I was rather dismissive of Australian politicians. I thought that I was at the receiving end of the stick. Your remarks made me forget the introductory line that I was going to use when I assumed the rostrum, and that was that I realized that there is no such thing as a free lunch. So I guess I have to sing now. Speaking of my visit, the purpose of my visit is a return visit for the various visits paid by my good friend Bill Hayden. I think in all he has made 3 visits to Indonesia. So I really think it's overdue. And it was 78, I think, that I visited Canberra on an official visit. I remember this place. I was told by the president that this is the very Bacchus tavern that I went to in the early 70s when it was first established. It was great excitement then to have a first real restaurant in Canberra. But since then, Canberra has changed very much, and I'm really impressed by what has been built and has been developed here in Canberra. So maybe I ought to come here more often. During my visit, I have met with Prime Minister Hawke to discuss a wide-ranging topics, not only bilateral ones, but also regional ones, and global matters. But we reached the same conclusion, more or less, and that is that it would be well if both countries and their leaders in the future emphasize the similarities rather than enlarging the differences. We both feel, I hope he shares my feeling, at least I can speak for myself, that if Australia and Indonesia see eye to eye on such important world problems as disarmament, nuclear testing, the preservation of peace in general, economic matters such as commodity problems, multilateral round of negotiations, North-South dialogue,